Welcome to this new video. This time we're gonna go over Metasploit and the Metasploit framework. But as you can imagine, we could spend hours and hours and hours just talking about Metasploit. So what I decided to do, I'm gonna create a series of different videos that I'm gonna be uploading as soon as I can, maybe once or twice a week where we're going to have a comprehensive analysis or a comprehensive tutorial of what is Metasploit, how to use it, why to use it, so that you can, if you don't know Metasploit, you can learn something about it, you can understand the importance of it, and if you are familiar with cybersecurity or if you are into cybersecurity but you don't have your hands on Metasploit, you can see how to utilize it for your advantage, right? So this is the first video, and this video is fundamental and informational in nature. So if you're looking for something more advanced, check one of the other videos. This is not the one for you. So let's talk about what is Metasploit, because a lot of people have an idea of what Metasploit does, but they don't really know or they don't know how to define what Metasploit is. So let me give you an example. If you ask like, do you know what Metasploit? Yes, Metasploit is a hacking tool. But in reality, Metasploit is not a hacking tool. It is a tool that can be used by hackers, but it was never designed to be a malicious hacking tool like many things, right? It is just what you use it for. So let's start from the beginning. Metasploit is an information security, or not an information security, it is an exploitation framework. So let's put that right here. So Metasploit is a framework that provides the tools within the framework to carry out many different cybersecurity functions, including penetration testing. So in Metasploit, which is a framework, it's not just one tool. There's not just one Metasploit tool. I mean, there's one Metasploit, but within Metasploit, you have multiple tools that allow you to perform different tasks. And some of those tasks that you can perform within Metasploit could be simple tasks as just performing network scanning. As a matter of fact, you can run Nmap within Metasploit and store all that information that you're scanning in a database, and you can organize your network in different ways, right? So we're going to get to that later, but let's just make sure that we understand this. Metasploit is not just one tool, it's a collection of multiple tools, and it is a framework that is going to have different pieces and different moving parts that you can utilize to perform your desired tasks in the terms of penetration testing or anything related to it. Now, the Metasploit that I'm using right here, as you could see, this is the command line. It's command line base, right? Let me get out of here. I'm using Kali Linux Purple for this, but Metasploit, I believe, is installed in all Linux, Kali Linux distributions. And if it is not, it is very simple to install, and I'll create a video for that. But if you're using Kali Linux, most likely Metasploit is already installed in your distribution. So to access that just from the command line, you type at the MSF console. That's um, one of the ways, or the only way right now, that you're going to be able to interact with Metasploit, that is through the MSF console. You hit enter, and as you could see, it's going to start doing its magic. It's going to start initializing the Metasploit framework, and then it's going to take you into a command prompt within Metasploit. So let's just wait for that to initialize. But as soon as you connect to it, you are going to notice a couple of things that you have to pay attention to. And here's what it is. By the way, isn't it cool? Like every time you log in, it's going to display a different banner. So here it is, right? If you don't like that banner, you could change that, or you could see a new banner just by typing banner. Anyway, so what do you need to pay attention to from the first screen? The version of Metasploit as of the time of this video, the current version of Metasploit is 6.3.21, right? That's what you have. Within Metasploit, you're going to have different modules, right? And as you could see, we have over 2,000 exploits, over 1,200 AUX, over 400 posts, and over 1,300 payloads, over 40 encoders and 11 naps and 6 evasions. And we're going to go over the different modules and what they are as we progress in these videos. So, but for now, just pay attention to this. Make sure that you have one of the latest versions of Metasploit running. And one of the beautiful things about running Metasploit in Kali Linux is that it automatically downloads, or it tells you if the packages that you have installed are outdated, then you'll have the option of updating the packages. And by packages, I'm using that word loosely. I should refer to them as modules. And, like if I have this computer disconnected from the network for some time, obviously there are going to be new exploits that I'm not going to have installed. So if you use it in Kali, most likely that's going to synchronize and it's going to tell you, hey, listen, you have to download these packages, or upload or update the database. So what I wanted to say is this. Metasploit, as we see it here, is an open source solution. It is free to use. You can download and run Metasploit on Windows, and you can do it in Linux, as you can see right here. It is uh, command based, as you can see. Now, Metasploit is a product of a company called Rapid7, or let me rephrase that. Rapid7 owns Metasploit, and as you can imagine, Rapid7 is a for-profit company. And let me bring that right here real quick so I can show you something. So they are a for-profit company, and they have many different products that and solutions that they sell. And one of the many products and solutions that they offer is Metasploit. But the Metasploit that you can license through Rapid7 is not going to be the same Metasploit that we're going to be using here. Or let me rephrase that. It's going to be the same core version of Metasploit, but when you use the licensed product from Rapid7, you are going to be able to use it on a GUI interface. And obviously, because you're going to be using a commercial product, you have to pay the licensing for that, and you're going to have advanced features and advanced support for it. Now, for you to run Rapid7, you should have a reason for that, because it is not cheap, right? Like, these solutions are expensive for what they do, and you can imagine why. Because you're going to be able to find vulnerabilities in other systems and potentially gain access to other systems. Hopefully, people who have these solutions licensed, they are not using that for anything bad. But hey, it is an expensive solution. And then if you go through the different solutions that they offer, they have a plethora of different solutions that can interconnect with each other. And well, you can look into that. Anyway, so that's where that's how Rapid 7 comes into play for the support of Metasploit. So we're using the open source version. So also keep in mind that Metasploit is a collection of tools. Let me put that right here, rather than one individual tool, right? Within the functions that you can find in Metasploit, you can run network scanning within Metasploit, right? You could run it right from here, look, right? Or you could, as you could see, like I am within Metasploit, and you can run different commands in it. You can find and search for vulnerabilities based on anything specific that you are looking for. Let's say that you're looking for vulnerabilities on SMB, right? You can do a search for that, and all these vulnerabilities are within the framework that you can use to carry out an exploitation, right? And you can also, once you find the vulnerabilities, break into it, you can maintain control of that session. So that is the beauty of Metasploit. You can have everything in one place. So when you're looking into it, there are certain things that you have to be very, very clear about, and understand that as you move forward with the understanding of Metasploit. Number one, you have to understand the key terms and what they really mean, right? Because as you start using it, you're gonna see that we're gonna be referencing exploits, we're gonna be referencing payloads, we're gonna be referencing vulnerabilities, and we're gonna be referencing all these different modules that you can utilize, and you have to be very clear of that. So let me come back here, and we're going to do key terms for you to remember. Number one, let's talk about an exploit, right? So let me show exploits right here. So look at all these exploits that we have. You can do a show command and exploits, and we said that it's going to have over 2300. It has 22,326 exploits right now on different categories. As you could see, exploits over, on FTP, exploits on what is it, on remote execution for this vulnerability. We have exploits on Apache, exploits on HTTP, on anything you're looking for. You can just come over here and just do search, for instance, FTP, and you'll see right here the different exploits that you're going to find for FTP. So, what is an exploit? Let's talk about that. So, in reality, what is an exploit? If we're talking about, oh, it has a lot of exploit, but what is it, right? So, an exploit is a code that uses, right, a vulnerability on a target system. An exploit is software. It's a code that takes advantage of a vulnerability. An exploit is the initial part of the attack. Is how you get there, right? To do what you want to do. Examples of exploits are buffer overflow, SQL injections, maybe even configuration errors. And that's what you're going to be looking for. Like if you're looking for an exploit on SMB protocol, it's because there's a known vulnerability for that protocol that you want to exploit, right? So that's one of the first terms that you want to keep in mind. So let's write it right here. It's a code that exploits a vulnerability. Now, let's talk about what is a vulnerability. And just as an aside, I created a couple of videos before on how to find vulnerabilities, how to analyze vulnerabilities, how to use the CVS, the databases to find vulnerabilities based on products, based on protocols, on software. So if you are new into information security, you can reference those videos. I also created another series for um, uh, vulnerability management and also using OpenVAS as a vulnerability scanner. So a vulnerability is a flaw in the design configuration of a system, right? It is a flaw somewhere. A flaw could be a misconfiguration or anything else or something in the code or anything else. And then the payload, right? So what is a payload? A payload is an exploit or a code that is executed after you successfully exploit the system. So you gain access to the system with the exploit and you have access. Okay, that's great. But what do you do once you are there? That's what your payload is going to be. It usually provides some type of a shell for you to take control over that system, right? Examples of payloads are reverse shells, mirror or anything like that that is going to provide you access to that system and it's going to give you access to the system. Let me put it right here. It's an exploit or code that is executed, right? Remember, first you do the exploit, and then after you gain control, you have to find the payload. So just as a summary, and just keep this in mind, an exploit is going to take advantage of a vulnerability, and then the payload is going to execute, or you're going to execute the payload to gain access and retain access to that system. So that's what we are working on these three terms now. This video is already 18 minutes long, and I said to myself that I was not going to create videos longer than 15 minutes, so I went over these 3 minutes, but I'm going to pause right here. If this piqued your interest and you want to know more about information security, best practices, and more about Metasploit, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and look out for the new videos. That's going to be a follow up to this. And we're going to have a complete session of Metasploit that hopefully is going to help you in your journey of information security and cybersecurity. Again, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I will talk to you later.